So there's one issue that have actually bedeviled us that disturbing our security architecture in this season, especially in Nigeria today, that I would like us to look at and discuss today. And that is the issue of food insecurity. There's hunger in the land. People are hungry. People can no longer go to farm. Food inflation is of high estimate in Nigeria today. And people are actually engaging in acute hunger. And there is a relationship with food security and national security. Because when people are hungry, they do not have economic access to food per time, they become angry people and they have nothing at stake. They can do anything in order to survive. So, because of the security implication of lack of food in every society, it has called for an urgent attention that every well-reasoned Nigeria is supposed to contribute their own quota, especially trying to develop ideas or how can we have a food security in Nigeria. Number one, what is food security? Food security exists when all people at all times have political, economic, and social access to food that is nutritious enough for their well-being and to ensure maintain their daily dietary need for a healthy living. So if there is food, but people don't have the economic access, that's when we call the food inflation. When they are so expensive, the food actually exists, but people did not have economic access to food. Or people may have money, but there are no availability of food. So all these components combined together actually constitute to food insecurity. And even though there is food, but it's not nutritious enough to maintain the individual's daily dietary need, you find out there is also issue of food insecurity. Then what is the cause of this food insecurity in Nigeria? Many have explained it had to do with issue of insurgency in many parts of Nigeria today, both north and south, because we normally state before that issue of insurgency being restricted to the Bay State, that is the Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe State, or in the northeast. But that's no longer the case today in Nigeria. If you come to my community, and for Muslim and local government of Enugu State, we used to be the food packets of our state, but now even you can't trek more than 5 miles from your place to your farm. Or even though if you go to farm, you will plant your crop, herdsmen and their cattle will destroy the crop. They are also making people to be difficult for them to go to. But before now, my mother used to send food for us from the villages to the town. But now we are the ones sending money for her to be able to take care, because before now she engages people to farm for her and she has enough food that it can also distribute to the children. But now it does not exist anymore. We are the one trying to go back and take care of her, which means the reverse is the case. So this issue of insurgency and insecurity in every part of the Nigeria contributing to food insecurity is actually real, and all of us can attest to that. Then number two is the issue of climate change, where there's desert encroachment, especially in northern part of Nigeria, staggered rainfall and all that. People can no longer farm year to year as they normally do before because of desert encroachment and climate change occurring, or not only in Nigeria but everywhere in the world. But there is something that Nigeria government is supposed to do in the first place to make sure that this can actually be settled, because it baffles everywhere taking Nigeria that there is a data now showing that by end of 2024 about 26.5 million Nigerians be facing acute hunger, acute food insecurity. It's actually that every Nigerian is supposed to be worried about that and begin to think what we're supposed to do. Because the other international organizations that operate in Nigeria to ensure food security in Nigeria, they actually do their best. But Nigeria government is supposed to have enough fund, enough investment in making that people have access to modern farming equipment, have access to fertilizer, have access to herbicide, have access to other chemicals that will enable them to have an enhanced food production, so that this issue of hunger and food insecurity will vanish in Nigeria. Then the issue of insecurity we have discussed before, especially in the northeastern part of Nigeria, where people can no longer go to their farm. Many of these farmers are now in IDP camp. There is also a need for us to increase our effort to ensure that those environments are being secured. We deal with the issue of insecurity in those regions so that people can actually go back to their villages and begin to engage in meaningful life, especially in farming and agriculture. And above all, I do not see any reason why Nigerian government cannot engage in farming. Because the old days of mercantilism, where we used to say, why in political science class, they used to tell us that government has no business in the business of business. That is the theory of mercantilism. But that mercantile approach is no longer existing. Many governments all over the world, especially if you go to like a country like Netherlands, US, government directly involved in the business of farming, in business of agriculture, especially in Nigeria, where we have arable land that have that capacity and have that competitive advantage to ensure that we engages in high level of food production, so that we can actually feed our population and as well use it as means of foreign exchange that are going to actually help our economy and fight the current food inflation we're expressing today in Nigeria. So I believe that there's a need for us to declare a state of emergency in terms of agriculture, food production, in order to enable us to fight hunger. Because this issue of hunger is real. If you go to the street, everywhere you go to market, you begin to discover that people are actually very hungry. When the USAID is saying that about 26.5 million, if you can actually see that data is actually real, because people around you cannot actually have that political and economic access to nutritious food that can actually meet their dietary needs. So I believe the conversation is ongoing, because, and also understand the security implication of food insecurity. You find out that these bandits in the bushes also, they have increased the ransom they are asking. Just imagine a terrorist or a kidnapper be asking of ransom in trillions of naira. So this is not actually what we used to know in Nigeria. They begin to demand for bags of beans, bags of grains as part of ransom, because those ones that are in bush also, they're also hungry. They also want to eat, and it becomes a good way of their recruitment. They can come to the community. You are hungry, you don't have it. Come and join us. We can actually ensure that you can have a balanced dietary need, your daily balanced dietary need from day to day. So because of this, it becomes a very good campaign on the heart of these bandits or criminals in the pool to recruit our population. So if we can actually deal with the issue of the radicalization process to ensure that we combat violence extremism in our society, I believe we will have a happier society and go back to society, begin to build a peaceful peace building resilience process, any warning system within all these communities to ensure that we can actually counter the violent extremism in our society, so that the farms and our environment can actually be safe. People can actually engage in meaningful life within their communities and enhance food production. Thank you very much. And I believe that there's a need for us begin to put much interest on the issue of this food insecurity to ensure that we have a balanced dietary need for everyone in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Remember myself, F.C.Ogbobe, peace and strategic expert and a lawyer.